You feel close to them, but something always feels slightly off. They laugh with you, but never really stand beside you. Your brain keeps telling you everything is fine, even when it's not. But what if your brain is the reason you're stuck here? Here's the strange part most people never realize about relationships. Your brain is wired to protect connection, even when connection is fake. It ignores red flags just to avoid emotional discomfort and uncertainty. And that's exactly how you stay attached to people who don't care. In this video, you'll see 4 behaviors that quietly reveal the truth. Not through words, but through patterns your brain keeps excusing. Some of these will click instantly. Others might sting a little. But once you see them clearly, you can't unsee them again. Why your brain ignores the truth. Most people don't feel alone because they lack people around them. They feel alone because the connection they have isn't real. Your brain confuses presence with care and attention with importance. That confusion keeps you emotionally invested in the wrong people. Anyone can say supportive words when it costs them nothing. Anyone can act kind when everything is easy and convenient. But real care shows up when effort, time, and discomfort are required. That's where behavior reveals what words try to hide. Here's where it gets interesting, and a little uncomfortable too. Your brain avoids confronting this truth because it fears loss. It would rather keep a weak connection than face emotional emptiness. So it edits reality to make people seem better than they are. Sign 1. They act like nothing happened. Something real happens, and it leaves a mark on you. Maybe they hurt you, dismissed you, or broke your trust. You expect some acknowledgement, even a simple, honest response. But instead, they return like nothing ever happened at all. They joke, they talk, they move forward like everything is normal. And now your mind starts questioning your own emotional reaction. Did it really matter, or are you just being too sensitive? That confusion is exactly where your brain starts protecting them. But something strange happens next, and it's easy to miss. You begin adjusting your behavior just to restore normalcy again. You laugh, respond, and slowly bury what actually hurt you. And just like that, the moment disappears without resolution. This behavior reveals something deeper than simple forgetfulness. They are unwilling to feel discomfort for the sake of your feelings. Apologizing requires humility, and they've decided it's too expensive. So they choose silence, hoping time will erase the problem. And unfortunately, your brain often helps them succeed at that. It prefers peace over truth, even if that peace is fake. But every time this pattern repeats, trust quietly erodes inside. And your sense of emotional safety slowly disappears without warning. Sign 2. They avoid real conversations. You finally decide to speak about something that truly matters. You've thought about it carefully and picked the right moment. But as soon as the conversation begins, something shifts quickly. They deflect, distract, or completely shut down the discussion. Maybe they check their phone or suddenly seem extremely busy. Maybe they say, "Not now," and never return to it later. Or they respond in ways that feel empty and disconnected. Whatever it is, the depth you need never actually happens. Here's where it gets deeper than it first appears. Some people are uncomfortable with emotional depth and vulnerability. The moment something real is required, they instinctively pull away. And your brain starts adjusting to avoid that rejection feeling. You begin filtering what you say and what you don't say. You avoid certain topics just to keep the interaction smooth. You slowly hide parts of yourself that feel inconvenient or heavy. And over time, you become less visible inside the relationship. That feeling has a name, and it's more common than you think. It's loneliness, but inside a relationship that looks completely normal. You're physically close, but emotionally distant in every meaningful way. And your brain tries to convince you this is just how it is. A person who truly cares will sit through uncomfortable conversations. They may not enjoy them, but they won't run away. Because to them, your connection matters more than their comfort. Avoidance, on the other hand, quietly tells you everything you need. Sign 3. They don't show up for your life. This one is subtle, which is why your brain overlooks it easily. It's not about one missed moment or occasional distraction. It's about a consistent pattern of absence in important situations. They're simply not there when it actually matters most. You share something meaningful, and their response feels empty. A quick, "that's nice," or "cool," ends the conversation instantly. There's no curiosity, no follow-up, no real engagement from them, and your excitement slowly fades without being acknowledged. But here's where it becomes even more revealing over time. You notice they show enthusiasm for other people's achievements. They remember details about things that interest them personally. But when it comes to you, there's a strange silence. Support doesn't require effort as much as it requires attention. When someone cares, they naturally notice what matters to you. They ask questions, they follow up, they stay engaged. Because your life becomes something they are invested in too. But something strange happens when support is consistently missing. You start shrinking your own goals to avoid disappointment later. You stop sharing things before they happen to protect yourself. And slowly, you begin living your life more quietly and alone. Instead of forcing motivation, your brain needs small systems that compound quietly over time. That's the exact philosophy behind quiet growth. Because real growth happens when your environment supports your direction, not when you constantly have to carry everything by yourself. Sign 4. They are there, but not really there. This is the most confusing sign because it looks normal outside. You're together, talking, spending time in the same space. Anyone observing would assume everything is completely fine between you. But internally, something feels distant and disconnected. There's a gap you can't explain but constantly feel. You're speaking, but the connection behind the words is missing. They respond, but without real presence or emotional engagement. And you're left feeling unseen despite being physically close. Here's where it gets difficult to accept but important to understand. Emotional absence doesn't create loud conflict or dramatic signals. It quietly becomes the new normal without drawing attention. And your brain adapts to it instead of questioning it. You start trying harder to bring back the connection. You talk more, give more, ask more, and show up more. But the effort feels one-sided and increasingly exhausting over time, because they are not meeting you halfway emotionally. Real presence is about attention, not just physical proximity. It's about feeling seen, heard, and valued in small moments. When that presence disappears, the relationship loses its depth, and what remains is just shared space without real connection. Seeing the pattern clearly. Your brain isn't broken, it's just trying to protect you. It avoids loss, discomfort, and emotional uncertainty whenever possible. But in doing so, it sometimes keeps you stuck in unhealthy patterns. Now you can finally see what those patterns look like clearly. You don't need to react immediately or make dramatic decisions. Just start noticing who consistently shows these behaviors in your life. Awareness is the first shift, and it changes everything quietly. Because once you see the truth, you stop settling for less.